The problem is not that you cannot meditate. The problem is that meditation is not yet a natural part of your life. Swamiji gave him a little piece of advice that completely changed the way he approached meditation. It may sound almost too simple, but once you understand how the brain works, it makes perfect sense. So, whenever you sit down to meditate, it immediately reminds you that there are many other things you could be doing instead. It thinks you are sitting idle instead of being productive. Even a bad meditation is better than a no meditation. Namaste. Before we begin today's discussion, I'd like to share one small suggestion that will help you get most from this video. This talk is part of my Kriya Yogi's Secret series, where we explore the deeper, often forgotten science behind our spiritual progress. Some of the ideas we'll discuss today may feel a little dense for the first time you hear them. That's perfectly all right. Don't feel you have to understand everything in one sitting. I have included chapter markers below so you can easily return to any section whenever you wish. Although these principles apply to any form of meditation, I'll be referring specifically to the Hangsa technique as taught by Paramhansa Yogananda. If you are new to Hangsa, you will find a complete beginner's guide linked in the description below. I've also included links to my books and few other resources that may help you deepen your practice. Now let's begin. Namaste. Welcome to YogiEvolve podcast. If you've recently begun meditating, perhaps after learning the Hangsa technique, you've probably noticed something. Meditation itself is not the hardest part to learn. You were able to follow the instructions and practice it to a certain extent. The hardest part is returning to it the next day and the next day after that. That is building consistency. The problem is not that you cannot meditate. The problem is that meditation is not yet a natural part of your life. Once the initial enthusiasm of attending a class begins to fade and the demands of daily life take over, you find that it becomes harder and harder to find the willpower and intention to sit for meditation. I'll meditate a little later, you tell yourself. But that later never comes and quickly disappears into many demands of the day. Today, I'd like to share how this can be transformed through very small practical steps. You can begin with something as simple as setting aside 5 minutes a day. Perhaps give up your 5 minutes of watching your favorite OTT, or scrolling through your phone, or listening to music. Those 5 minutes may not seem like much, but they can become the beginning of a lifelong meditation practice. Once, a new student approached Swami Kriyananda with exactly this problem. I know who this person was, but I rather not reveal his name. Today, he's a Swami who guides thousands of people on their own spiritual journey. But before he could guide others, he first had to transform himself. Swamiji asked him, "How long can you meditate?" He replied, "Sir, I can hardly manage 1 minute before my mind begins to wander." Swamiji gave him a little piece of advice that completely changed the way he approached meditation. It may sound almost too simple, but once you understand how the brain works, it makes perfect sense. I will come back to that advice in a few moments. Along with that advice, I'd also like to share a few more pointers that I've gathered over the years while guiding others through the same transformation. Perhaps one of these ideas will help you in your own journey. Today, I'm talking about how to build consistency in meditation, because consistency is what allows meditation to become a living part of your life. It is the real beginning of the spiritual journey. The soul loves to meditate. It is the restless mind that is always looking for something else to do. To change that, we need to first understand why it doesn't listen to us. Your brain has lived for years without meditation. It has been programmed to wake up, get ready for the day, and move into your daily activities. Meditation is not yet a part of that program. One of the brain's primary responsibilities is to help you survive by keeping you active and responding to the demands of daily life. So, whenever you sit down to meditate, it immediately reminds you that there are many other things you could be doing instead. It thinks you are sitting idle instead of being productive. So, it is simply trying to help you by reminding you of all the pending activities. And that is completely natural. So, we need to find a way to train the mind. If you look at anything you do well, you always find that you have trained for it. Even those who seem naturally talented have reached that point through training in past life. In this life, they naturally feel interest and enthusiasm for that activity. So they continue training and excel even further. So, what they have going for them is interest and enthusiasm, very important feeling. Enthusiasm and interest are essential for learning any new skill. So, after your first meditation class, remember what inspired you the most. Hold on to that inspiration and let it keep your enthusiasm alive. These two qualities will help you keep going through the early stages of your practice. After the challenge of finding time and learning to sit regularly for meditation, there is another challenge that many beginners face. They often begin meditation with very high expectations. They've heard people describe visions and many other spiritual experiences. Naturally, they too begin wanting those experiences. So they expect something similar to happen in their own meditation. This reminds me of a story that Paramhansa Yogananda once shared. A man from New York came to visit him and confidently claimed, I can travel astrally. This man would often describe his amazing astral travel to his friends in great details. Yogananda smiled and replied, I don't think you can. I think you're only imagining it. The man insisted, Please test me. So Yogananda said, Very well. Go downstairs astrally and tell me what you see in that restaurant. After a few moments, the man opened his eyes and said, There's a large piano in the corner. Yogananda simply smiled and said, I don't think so. I believe you will find two women sitting at a table. They both went downstairs. There was no piano, but there were two women sitting at a table. The man realized what he thought was an astral experience had simply been his own imagination. That doesn't mean genuine spiritual experiences don't exist. They exist. Yogananda demonstrated that. But in the beginning, it is very easy to mistake imagination, expectations, or wishful thinking for genuine spiritual experiences. So, if you sit for meditation waiting for something extraordinary to happen, your attention shifts away from the practice itself. Instead of meditating, you begin watching for experiences. That is where expectations become a challenge. The mind is constantly asking, Has anything happened yet? Has anything happened yet? Even if your technique is correct, your attention is no longer on the practice, it is on the result. And because your attention is elsewhere, you begin feeling that nothing is happening. Slowly, your enthusiasm for meditation begins to fade. However, meditation works gradually because its effect must first work through the nervous system. It slowly strengthens and refines the nervous system, preparing it for deeper experiences. So, in the beginning, the changes are often quiet. You may notice a little more peace. You may feel lighter and happier. Your concentration improves. You respond with greater calmness. You have better control over your emotions and greater clarity in your thinking. These may seem like small changes, but they are not small at all. Slowly, the foundation is being built. The nervous system has to be prepared before it can safely sustain the power of deeper spiritual experiences. And that is the beginning of real progress. Like every other skill in life, meditation develops through sincere, consistent practice. As we discussed earlier, anything we become good at requires training, and meditation is no different. Every sincere meditation, even when it feels ordinary, is quietly changing something within you. That is why setting the right expectation is so important. In the beginning, your goal is just keep showing up. Just that one single phrase. Just keep showing up for your meditation every day. And that will build the foundation of your meditation. Even if it is for 5 minutes, tell yourself, this is my meditation time. Everything can wait for 5 minutes. Just show up for your meditation. During the first couple of weeks, you're mainly overcoming inertia of past habits of not meditating. Remember, you are simply updating your brain's old program. Every day that you sit for meditation, you're teaching the brain that meditation is now one of the normal activities of your life and that this is your meditation time. It usually takes a couple of weeks before the brain begins accepting this new routine. Slowly, that constant urge to get up and do something else becomes weaker. After a month or two, another change begins. You begin sitting with greater willingness. The practice slowly finds its place in your daily routine. Then, after several months of regular practice, perhaps around 6 months or so, something else changes. Meditation no longer feels like something you're trying to add to your life. It begins to feel like it belongs there. This change is so gradual that you may hardly notice it while it is happening. But one day you realize that if you miss your meditation, you feel restless, out of sorts. Your nervous system has become accustomed to that period of peace and inner stillness to reorganize and calm itself. This is how consistency is created. It grows quietly by a very simple motto: just keep showing up. So, how should you begin? Do you remember the student who could hardly meditate for even 1 minute? Swamiji's advice was surprisingly simple. He didn't ask him to meditate for an hour. He simply told him to start where he was, but to be consistent. My suggestion is very simple: start small. Don't feel pressured to meditate for 30 minutes or even an hour from the very beginning. If 5 minutes or even 2 minutes is all that you can manage, that's perfectly fine. Just sit for 1 minute extra. That 1 minute extra gradually builds your strength and willpower. Remember, your first goal is not to meditate for a long time. Your first goal is to build consistency while keeping your enthusiasm and interest alive. If you push yourself too much, meditation feels like a burden. Slowly, you lose your enthusiasm and your interest. So, meditate for as long as you can do comfortably. Then stay for 1 extra minute more. One thing I strongly recommend is meditating twice a day. A short meditation in the morning prepares your mind for the day ahead. A short meditation in the evening helps release much of the restlessness that has accumulated during the day and prepares you for restful sleep. It also carries that energy into your next morning's meditation. These two sittings begin supporting one another. The evening meditation helps you wake up more peaceful the next morning. And the morning meditation helps you move through the day with greater calmness and balance. Slowly, your rhythm begins to develop. Before long, you will find yourself looking forward to meditation. You will even begin looking for opportunities to find a little more time to meditate. That is how naturally enjoyable meditation becomes once you get into the rhythm of it. There is one more thing that no one talks about: the power of inconsistency. Inconsistency itself can become a habit, and it can roll back all the progress that you have made so far. So every time you miss a meditation session, the next one becomes a little more difficult. The brain quickly learns that meditation is optional. And that is why it's always better to sit for 5 minutes than to skip your meditation completely. Even a bad meditation is better than a no meditation. Often we think, I'm tired today, I'll skip it just this once. But the brain doesn't understand just this once. It simply records a new pattern. Meditation is optional. That is exactly what we are trying to avoid. Instead, we want the brain to learn a different pattern. Meditation is an essential part of your life. First, it begins accepting meditation as part of your daily routine. Then it becomes comfortable with that routine. Finally, it starts cooperating with you instead of resisting you, and it accepts meditation as an essential part of your life. There's a beautiful quote from Paramhansa Yogananda: environment is stronger than willpower. Think about that for a moment. If everything around you encourages activities and distractions, your willpower is constantly working against a strong current. So make meditation easy to begin. Choose a regular place, choose regular time. Let that place gradually become associated with peace and stillness. After some time, simply sitting in that place begins reminding your brain that it is time to meditate. Your environment is now helping to reprogram your brain. Instead of working against your practice, it begins supporting it. There is one final thought that I would like to leave you with. In the beginning, it often feels as though everything depends entirely on your own effort. And to a large extent, it does. You have to make the decision to sit. You have to keep showing up. You have to train the mind, reprogram the brain, and build the habit. But every sincere effort you make, especially on those days when it feels difficult to meditate, creates a gentle vibration in the astral world. Divine consciousness notices that sincere effort, and gradually grace begins flowing into your life. There's a beautiful story that illustrates this. A rock climber once became trapped on an overhanging cliff. Every attempt he made to climb upwards was met by gravity pulling him down. He could not climb higher. He could not safely climb down. He was completely alone. Again and again he tried and fell. On his 10th attempt, too, he failed, but he refused to give up. On his 11th attempt, he felt as though an unseen force, like a hand, pushed him upwards, and he found himself at the top of the cliff. Grace comes unexpectedly at moments we least expect. You will find suddenly a meeting gets cancelled that was scheduled exactly when you wanted to meditate. And suddenly you have all the time to meditate. Maybe you have more time than you had planned for. Someone who is unhappy about your meditation practice unexpectedly becomes supportive. One day you are exhausted and convinced you will fall asleep during meditation. Yet, as soon as you sit down, a flow of grace comes over you, and you have one of the most beautiful and deepest meditation you ever experienced. These moments remind us that while effort is our responsibility, grace follows every sincere effort. The divine will first test us to see if we really mean it. If we show perseverance, grace will support us. As you continue practicing, your meditation will naturally become longer and deeper. Paramhansa Yogananda said, "Make every meditation deeper than the before." That depth comes not by forcing yourself to sit longer. It comes naturally as consistency becomes a habit and the nervous system gradually prepares itself for deeper meditation. But how do you know if you're making real progress? Is there any way to measure your progress? In our future discussions, we will explore the three levels of meditation: the hygiene level, the aspiring level, and the super aspiring level. Understanding these stages will help you recognize where you are in your own practice, what your next steps should be, how this gradual journey prepares you for a deeper path of Kriya Yoga. Let us now conclude with a short meditation and healing prayer. If you have learned Hangsa technique, my instruction will be easy to follow. If you haven't, don't worry. If you don't understand everything, simply do what works for you. The important thing is to consciously focus on the divine and be receptive to his blessings. Let us start with a small prayer. Friend, beloved God, great masters of Kriya Yoga, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, Paramhansa Yogananda, and saints of all religion, we humbly bow to you all. Bless us that we may follow your teachings correctly and then learn to lead a life with divine consciousness. Now sit up straight, spine straight, eyes upturned, palms at the junction of the thighs and the torso. Let us tense and relax 3 times with double breath. Tense. Low, medium, high, vibrate, and relax. Once again, tense, low, medium, high, vibrate, and relax. One last time. Inhale with double breath, tense your whole body. Low, medium, high, vibrate, and relax. Now let's do measured breathing. Inhale for a count of 6, hold for a count of 6, and exhale for a count of 6. I'll do the counting for you. Inhale, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now take a deep breath and exhale. Wait calmly for the breath to return on its own. As the breath returns, practice Hangsa if you know. Otherwise, just observe your breath. If your mind wanders, gently but firmly bring it back. Eyes up, down, palms up, down at the junction of your thighs and abdomen. Spine straight. As the breath comes in, continue with your practice. Don't try to control the breath, just follow the breath. Slowly let go of the Hangsa technique or observing of the breath. Take a deep breath and exhale thrice. As you exhale, become focused at your spiritual eye, spine straight. Try and feel any aspect of God coming to you. Peace, joy, light, whatever comes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now let us share the blessings that we have received in our meditation with others. Bring to mind all your near and dear ones, all those who are in need of healing. Surround them with this light of love and healing. Expand this light to include all the souls in the world who are seeking God. Let them also find these teachings. Expand it further to include the whole world. See the whole world surrounded by this light. Peace, joy, harmony. Let us pray. Divine Mother, Thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all Thy children. Manifest Thy healing presence in their bodies, minds, and souls. Let's rub our hands together to bring energy to our hands. And now hold your palms up, facing outwards above your shoulders, and send out 3 ohms. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you for meditating with me. God bless you. Jai Guru. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Kriya Yogi's secret. I hope today's discussion helps you better understand and perhaps even forgive the resistance of your own mind. Remember, every sincere meditation is a gift you give to your soul. If you would like to explore the foundation of everything we discussed today, I have linked my video on the forgotten science of Kriya Yoga here on the screen. It's the perfect place to continue your journey, and if you are ready to begin or strengthen your meditation practice, you will find my Hangso guide linked below. I'd love to hear about your own experiences, so please share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, may every meditation take you a little deeper. God bless you.